Our booth was busy the entire time. We loved it. We all loved being there together, and we made some money. So I'd do it again.
Welcome back to On the Horizon. This is Melrose Michaels. I am your host, and I'm here to share what's worked for me in building my adult creator business to try to make building yours just a little bit easier. Let's get into today's episode. Attending adult expos can be an excellent business move for adult performers, but hosting your own booth is another experience altogether. Today, we're talking to a group of performers who decided to take their Exxxotica experience into their own hands and discuss the pros and cons of having your own booth at a conference. Let me start introducing today's guests. It's going to be Fallon Jane, Titania Orion, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Momma B. Fallon is a 46-year-old married mom of 3 who loves being an adult and social media content creator based in the Midwest. Known for her 6-foot-tall stature, big smile, and silly personality, she loves being authentic with her fans, exploring new kinks, and creating a sisterhood of other creators, which is something I definitely relate to. After losing her 20-year career building a pharmaceutical rep in a merger, she decided to make her fun side hustle that she started in 2018 into a full-time career in the adult industry, making her dreams come true of being a CEO of her own company. She just didn't ever fathom it would be nude pics and vids on the internet. Titania Orion is business in the front and party at the back door. She got her start as a solo creator in 2020, but decided to make content creation her full-time career and jump in with both feet through collabs and expanding her social network after getting sober at the end of 2022. She's now a full-time nomad who travels the country for collabs and conventions. She loves the business aspect of the adult industry and connecting with other people who share her entrepreneurial spirit. It makes for a great guest and sidekick today because business is what we are all about. Then, last but not least, we have Momma Bombshell, 43, all natural, known as Malibu MILF or Queen Bee, or simply Momma B, and is a multifaceted persona. By day, she is a hot bisexual MILF next door, but by night, you better be good or she will teach you a lesson. Her social media journey began in 2021, spurred by encouragement from those who saw her as a charismatic MILF with a knack for entertaining people online. Through the years, she's forged friendships, amassed followers, all simply by being herself, embracing her work and connections wholeheartedly. Fallon, Titania, and Momma B, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out and chat with us today.
Hey, yeah, thank you for having us on your show, Melrose.
We're so excited to have you guys. Hi, Momma. Hi, Titania. Am I saying your name right, Titania, or am I
Titania, like titanium, but yeah. It's okay.
Thank you for the correction.
Everyone in the industry just calls me T, so you can call me T if that's easier.
Oh my gosh. Okay, much easier. T, Momma B, Fallon Jane. Welcome, Momma.
Hi, guys. And don't worry, I totally butchered your name too at the beginning.
I still love you.
I was like, Mama, just call her T. My goodness.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked. So I guess we'll keep this kind of moving in order. We'll start with Fallon, then go to Momma, and then go to T. But the first question I really have for you guys is, how did the idea of pooling resources for a booth at Exxxotica kind of just like come about? Like, where did this spawn from?
I personally think it was just as girlfriends wanting to experience something new. And, when Fallon reached out to me, I've always wanted to do something like this. So when Fallon started coordinating this and organizing it, I was like, we're splitting it. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to have this experience.
I'd actually visited Chicago's Exxxotica 2 years ago and checked it out. And then my husband brought up the idea that I should have a booth there. I was originally a half-face creator up until a couple of years ago. And so to physically be out there meeting fans is like a huge step for me. So I was like, really, you think I should? And of course, fears set in about like, would anybody come to the booth? I'm not famous, those sort of things. So I looked into a single booth. And it was $600. And I thought, well, it comes with 2 tickets. What if I just asked somebody else to come with me and we'll just swap in and out of the booth. When I contacted Exxxotica, they said, no, if it's a single creator booth, it has to be just a single creator and a helper. And so they suggested that if I wanted more people in there, that we have a company booth.
The whole booth was like $3,000, and then we split it 4 ways. If I recall, I want to say it ended up being like $700 a person after we split it. But that was with like, we decided if we were going to do it, we're going to do it right. Like get the corner booth for better visibility, like more traffic walking by. I believe we paid, that included like the promo, like a promo package through them as well. So we just kind of went for like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do everything and like make sure we get the full experience and full benefits. But yeah, y'all might have to correct me on numbers, but I'm like, I think that's, I want to say the breakdown ended up being about that.
Yeah, and we had to be really creative and create a name, because we weren't a single creator. We were being represented as a whole, and that's where Mistresses and MILFs came in, is kind of the name that we brainstormed. And I loved it. I think it did really, really well. I know that the feedback, people had such a great time with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it was easy instead of manning a booth the entire time. We were like tag teaming each other. Cassie and Titania would have the booth for a certain amount of time, and then we would come in and relieve them so that our energies could stay up and going. And just working like that as a team with so much going on, it was beautiful to be a part of and to witness.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do something like that alone. Like it was nice. It was nice having the group to like, bounce energy off of, and like standing at a booth alone. Like I'm a little shy, so having other people there where we can kind of play off each other's energy, I think was more fun for us and for the fans too.
I agree.
Yeah. That makes total sense. It's funny because the last conference I went to was X3 with XBiz last January, and I maybe I'm thinking with the wrong one. It would have been the year before, but to Fallon's point about like hosting a booth and not being like so famous, and I was literally at my little table next to Kazumi, and she had this like line wrapped around the conference, and I was like, what am I doing here? So I totally understand that like initial fear or like hesitation, but I love that you guys just kind of took that step or like that leap, because I think the saying is, fear is an inch deep, or it appears a mile wide, but it's an inch deep. And so just taking that leap is so important. And I think the fact that you guys did that and are, communicating it today is probably going to encourage a lot of other creators listening to do something similar. And I love the Mistresses and MILFs branding. Like that's just epic. I want to ask, like, what were the hurdles, like the biggest challenges kind of in the planning stages of doing this?
Making sure everything fit in the booth.
Yeah.
And having the booth represent, all of us as individuals, but us as a group. But I feel like, we pulled it off really, really well. But I think that was like our biggest challenge, was just like making sure that we had everything that we wanted to represent in the booth with 4 different people,
The biggest challenge to me was getting the digital stuff made. So we then had a deadline once we decided we're all in and we paid our fee for the booth. Then we had to turn in, we had to make a logo for the Mistresses and MILFs. And then we had to have like our company saying and our flyer made. So since we bought the marketing package, there's a 1-page flyer. And so we had to have that made. And so I think the digital part of it was the most frustrating for me, and to get everybody's pictures all together.
Yeah. And I think since none of us had done anything like this before, there wasn't really like there was no one to really spearhead kind of knowing how the things worked. Like shout out to Fallon for being like our point person for reaching out to like the Exxxotica contacts to like get the get all the info that we needed. But it's like one thing to have like all that info on paper and another to like be there and like realizing like, oh, okay, like maybe I should have brought these items for merchandise, or I should have had like these offerings ready to go. But just like kind of going, like that was even only my second convention, and my first convention was just, I was just there to collab. I wasn't like, I didn't have a booth. I wasn't like going. So I just kind of was like, I'm super excited to be involved, but you know, I don't really know like what it's going to be like. So that was like the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, definitely. It was, we didn't know how it was going to end up or how it was going to look. And we decided to go with individual banners versus like one big banner, so that we, the money that we invested into, merchandise and banners, that we could reuse that individually at other events.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. This way you guys are kind of getting the most out of your value. That's perfect. If you're enjoying this podcast episode so far, please take one moment to share it with another one of your adult content creator friends, because you know what the rule is here. We do not gatekeep, and we want to make as many adult creators' businesses as easy as possible. And you sharing this episode with them might do exactly that. Thanks so much in advance. So you guys said you went with the company booth. I think the breakout across the four of you ended up being something like $700. Were there any kind of like unexpected costs or expenses that came from doing this outside of the booth and the marketing?
Marketing materials, like, and making sure that we had, merchandise that was sellable. All of it was like a gamble and a risk, but, people ate everything that we brought. They ate up.
I love that. So in terms of kind of, I guess, organizing this, so how did you manage the financial contributions amongst the group? Because I just foresee, like, if a bunch of creators want to kind of, tag team a project like this and rent their own booth, how they exchange funds would be, one of the challenges too. It's like, okay, does everyone Zelle somebody and then they take care of it? Like, what was that process?
I put it on my credit card for the booth, and then they each cash out to me. I also reserved the hotel, and I was the host hotel was about $850, but it was an MC Suites, so we could plenty of space for people, and we could share that. Some of the other unexpected costs was the electricity, so they charge you separate for the electricity, and you need that to run your lighting if you have a ring light. If you have a printer, things like that. They'll also charge you separate if you want the internet. It was some ridiculous cost, so I opted not to have it. But if you wanted to cam from there, I suggest maybe having the internet. But we did not get the internet, and we didn't need it the whole time.
Yeah, we were all really, great. Fallon, told us this is how much it costs. We split it between the four of us. The four of us, we work really, really well together. So there wasn't any challenges in making sure that, we were all equal in contributing, which was really, really great. We had a great time together.
That's amazing. Did you guys know each other before doing this? Like, did you all have a relationship before going into the conference?
Kind of. Like Fallon and I had worked we'd done a collab before, because I think a friend said we should work together because we're both 6 feet tall. And then Momma and I had been in a group chat together for a long time. And then Ink to Please, she and I we go way back. We've been modeling together for years. So I invited her along because I was like, Fallon was looking for other tall girls. I'm like, I know someone who would fit right in. But we hadn't all four ever gotten together, and it was really cool that we all we had so much fun with y'all. It was a great vibe.
Yes, definitely. And I knew Momma Bombshell and I have been to collabs, and we're in a group together with Nita Marie. So that's how we knew each other.
Yeah, Ink to Please was the only person that I personally didn't know. I never met Titania, but we've been talking for a year in our little group chats and stuff. But yeah, Ink to Please was the first time I was made aware of her and met her, and she was totally a vibe.
Yeah, she was amazing. And we're lucky that we all worked together really well, because if you've got somebody who's a negative Nelly, it's not going to work, or somebody who's trying to skate out on costs, things like that. So yeah, perfect group to work together. But for the other creators who are considering this, choose wisely who you want to partner with.
And, when you look at like Ink to Please, Titania, and Fallon, they are a little opposite from me. They're all, 6 foot, dark hair. Here I am, a 5'5", blonde hair, blue eyes. So I was like really worried, I was like, kind of like the oddball here. But what we found is that it like, people that would typically come to me, blonde hair, blue eyes, really got exposed to them. And the fans that are more, towards the 6 foot dark hair were exposed to me. So the cross promoting was fabulous,
That's amazing. And
That's what you variety.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess when you're going into this and you're committing to this booth and this group of creators, like what were your primary goals for having the booth at Exxxotica? Was it to, engage with fans that you already had? Was it to, be exposed to new fans? Was it to gain collaboration or, maybe network with companies? Like what were your primary goals at Exxxotica?
I think the main goals were to gain subscribers on our pay sites. And so meet new people, meet any current fans that wanted to come out. I'm here in the Midwest. 3 of us are in the Midwest anyways. So they could physically get there to meet us. You did have to be very careful advertising that on places like OnlyFans because you can't use the word meet. Or even, I would suggest not even really advertising it on OnlyFans. Just use your socials to stay away, just in case, because they may think that you're an escort or something else using those kind of terms. But yeah, we just wanted to meet people, and a lot of creators will go there to collab with other creators and just do that. But we wanted to stay in our booth and make sure that we were meeting fans, gaining fans. And then a side benefit was also networking with other creators too. And we did get to collab with the 4 of us.
Right. And I was like, I'm such a collab slut. I was definitely there. I'm always at conventions because I love filming, but this was a nice like change of pace, like getting to like interface with the fans more, because obviously like I do get a lot of requests, like fans always want to meet, and that's not really like, it's not really possible. That's not, that's not my particular brand of sex work. Like I just make online films, right? So this is like the one opportunity where people can actually like see me in person. So like that was cool, but it was like 50-50 for me whether or not like the networking with the fans and gaining subscribers. But I was also kind of just hoping to make a bunch of connections for people to film with in the future. But of course I ended up like filming like hella videos that weekend anyway. So.
She was being a butt slut.
You know what? Okay, yeah. I was there getting my butt fucked. That was a big motivation for me.
I love that. So it was a little bit of everything, it sounds like. But so knowing that and like having that variety of goals, how do you measure the success of an ROI from an experience like this then?
This one's a tough one, just like a lot of the things we invest in, like, promotions and whatnot. How to really tack down an ROI, because what I was looking for would be cash tips. So when we were at the booth, the thing that went over really wildly was people taking photos with us. And then I brought a printer with, and my husband was down there printing the pictures off and then laminating. We made cash tips from that. We also, on the second day, Momma Bombshell came up with the idea to allow folks to be able to squeeze on us for tips and maybe do some dancing. Now, that's not actually in the small print. It's not allowed at Exxxotica, but everybody else had flyers up at their booths to offer it. So we started doing that. And actually, then the money really started rolling in. And so cash wise, I made about $1,000, which paid for my part of the booth and a little bit of the hotel. And then all of us got together as well, and we did 2 live streams on OnlyFans. And so those tips also help pay for it. So I was looking just to break even on the cash that we made there. And then anything else, such as any subs that came in, any connections, because how do you put an ROI on somebody you meet there, another creator, and then you go make content, and then you sell the content, and the content then is infinite, how long you can sell that for. So to put a number on it's kind of hard, in my opinion. ultimately, I
Yeah.
was looking at, would I do this again? Is it a good investment? Or we just like seriously, put it in the hole? It got, was a tank. I would have considered it a failure if nobody came to our booth, if we had a bad time, but none of that happened. Like our booth was busy the entire time. We had a great, experience. We loved it. We all loved being there together. And we made some money. So I'd do it again.
Yeah, I would definitely do it again. For me, walking into there, it was more about the experience. Yes, I would like to make money, and I believe that I did I made more than what I invested into that weekend. But for me, it was more about the experience of just being there and interacting with the fans and interacting with other creators and networking and just bringing the energy, so that people can experience us versus just seeing us behind a screen.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I came up financially on that trip, but I wasn't necessarily like, I kind of figured first convention, like, I'm not entirely certain like how to allocate like money for this or what I need to bring or whatever. So I wasn't too worried about like trying to turn a profit on my first one, but I wanted to learn how to do it in the future and see if it was worthwhile. And I think just because of who I am as a person, I did spend a lot more time networking with fellow creators, and I had like a few collabs scheduled where like I did leave the booth to go film. So I wasn't like taking as many photos with fans. I think I was doing a lot more like creator networking, trying to like make some contacts for the future. And then the money I did make in tips, I spent on a new harness because everyone wants me to be a top this year. And I'm like, all right, we're going to commit to the bit. So I bought a beautiful leather harness, which I feel like, was worthwhile. But in terms of like, did I turn a good profit? Not this time, but I definitely learned like how I want to allocate my resources and energy on the next one where I would be able to.
And I think we learned too where we want to not spend money on the next one. Like she said, where we should allocate our resources a little better.
Mm-hmm.
One of the examples is that the flyer, we spent a lot of money having it made, not to have it be delivered. And then so we had to get another person to make it. And then not realizing this was going to be a digital flyer. And they say the value on it's about $1,000. And so we never even saw the flyer. And so that's something that we would not invest in the extra marketing package with Exxxotica that costs $1,000. I think we could save money there.
I think we're all good enough at social media where like the promotion Exxxotica like did for us, which was everyone got their own Twitter post, with like the little like whatever image we submitted and like the dates of Exxxotica. And then it was supposed to be originally like a packet or like a little, I don't know, like flyer bundle, but then it ended up being a digital QR code. So it's like, I think we're all pretty good on social media. I think we could have just marketed ourselves well enough without having to spend that extra money.
Awesome. No, that's really, really good feedback. I want to ask, so because when you're in Exxxotica or like these conferences and expos, it's really important to kind of have like elements in your booth that attract people to it, like some kind of lighting or gimmick or, great branding or just something that captures attention from people walking by. Were there design elements that you guys had that was crucial to making your booth stand out?
Oh, yeah. I think as we walked around, we had like one of the most colorful, exciting booths going on. A lot of people just had like their picture and they were sitting at a table looking a little bit bored. We had all of our banners up. So there's 4 banners in this 10 by 10 booth. And then I brought lights. We also brought our own table covers, was a hot pink. We also had, what else was going on? I had my spanking bench. So one of my fans actually made me a custom spanking bench. So we brought that and it was set out. And when there wasn't as many people walking by, I'd have Momma Bombshell get on there and I'd use the flogger on her, or we
were always dancing, joking.
Yeah.
And we made sure when people walked by, we made sure to say, hey, we're so glad you're here. Welcome. This is who we are. We didn't just stay in our booth. We were like, around our booth, and we were making sure to let people know that we were there, that we were approachable, and we were, people could talk to us and say hi and, not be
and give hugs.
Yeah, give hugs and take pictures and dancing around, joking around, just, being our silly selves.
I even brought a big stuffed penis I got from Spencer's. That was a hit. And then I also got it was like a rubber squeezy boob. And so I was out in the aisles just joking with people. They're like, "You want to touch my titty?" And then I'd give them the squeezy boob. I mean, just making people laugh. And so I think we were super interactive. Both Momma Bombshell and I have had like formal training on show floors before, with me being a pharmaceutical rep, and she was in the fashion industry. And so I've had actual formal training on how to interact on show floors. So I think that's also a big help, is making sure you're not just sitting at a table, and making sure you're standing, you're interacting with people, you're reaching out to them, you're out in the aisle.
Yeah, I tried to make sure never to sit until, okay, I did decide to wear my 8-inch heels, which I did at some point tap out and was like, "You guys, I'm so sorry." Like, but then I tried to make sure I like sat on the spanking bench, and I put on like a big harness with like a giant dildo and was like waving that around. So, like, if I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna try and like still be entertaining. But there was a point where I'm like, "Oh, I am limping." I was like, I'm tapped out on standing in these, you know.
Oh yeah, the 12-inch strap-on was a draw too.
Yeah.
I mean, they look at us, they look at our face, look at our titties, and they're like, "Ooh, yeah," they're smiling, especially the guys walking by. And then if I like released it from between my legs, I mean, guys would jump away as a joke, but it was just funny.
It sounds like
Or I'd have discussions with the ladies and say, "Was this too big? Do you think? I mean, we don't need a dick this size, do we? Like, we're just trying to let the guys know they don't need to be a 12-inch to, it was just more of a joke, novelty thing."
I love that. It sounds like you guys had a ton of fun. And I think like a number one thing at conferences or expos is like the more fun you're having, the more people you attract. Like just
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we're all big believers that positivity attracts positivity. We're huge, I think, all four of us.
So I'm curious, out of all the ways you guys kind of promoted your booth and marketed it, what, I guess, channels, we'll start with channels, do you think were most effective? Was it Instagram? Was it Twitter? Was it, an email list? What marketing channels specifically do you think were most effective in promoting your booth?
I think Twitter was my biggest place.
Weirdly, all of the fans that approached me at the booth knew me from Facebook, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't expect that. But I was mostly promoting on Facebook on Twitter, because like all of my socials run by Meta. I have to be so careful. Like, I pretty much have to post in a sweatshirt. If I even mention that I have a job, usually my posts get flagged. So mentioning like the convention, a lot of stuff got taken down for me. So I had to mostly promote on Twitter, or like my posts would stay up for a little bit and then I'd have to like remove them. So it's mostly Twitter promotion. I want to figure out a way to like very carefully promote these things on Meta. I think on FET too, I was able to talk about it. I feel like I had a FET fan or whatever or two come up to me, but
mine's was Twitter and Reddit.
Oh yeah, because they allow all the fun stuff. Be careful on Meta if you're advertising. Also, if you have a Telegram channel, if you have your own private Telegram channel, you could advertise there too.
I would forget about Telegram.
Yeah,
just be very careful on the pay sites. I would advise against it.
I didn't promote it on any of my subscription pages, just because it is an in-person meet and greet, and it just can be interpreted wrong. And that's another challenge that I had as well, is people that were at Exxxotica would subscribe to my paid sites, and then they would message me on my paid sites and be like, "Oh, it was so nice meeting you. I can't wait to see you tomorrow." And you're like, your stomach like drops, and like you're like, "Oh, that's great," and you feel like you have to be so just like indirect with your answering them, because they're excited that they got to hug you and they got to meet you and you're going to be there tomorrow. We literally had people the last day, people were crying, and it was just so sweet that how we were just impacting people. They were coming back day after day, sometimes hour, just to feel our energy and be a part of our fun. And when the lights were going off and people were packing up, we had fans come up to us and they were crying and telling us like how amazing of a time that they had, and how we helped them feel so, comfortable, so it's really, really sweet to see that.
It makes like doing what you do. We put up with some weird stuff sometimes, but that really made you're like, yes, this is why I do this, to impact others.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. I think there's just something different about meeting your followers and fans in person because you get the energy aspect, which is not tangible online, and it's tough because we have that challenge where we can't meet people in person because it is misconstrued under SESTA, and then that's like this huge hurdle where it makes it more difficult to connect. And I'm wondering, like, beyond that, beyond the like, it was great meeting you and all of that coming through on the fan sites, were there other challenges that you faced kind of during this process that were either expected or unexpected?
I think the biggest challenge that we ran into was the initial digital creation of making a flyer and not having it delivered on time. So having to scramble to find somebody else, and that person wouldn't give us our money back either. So I was having a bit of a breakdown about losing $750. This guy does most of the banners there too. So it was really frustrating to see this attitude from him. I think that was my biggest heart attack was that. Everything else I think at the show went really well, honestly. We didn't have any big hangups or anything like that.
Yeah, I think for me, like a challenge was, trying to figure out, like, okay, like obviously we're going to make money off of like taking pictures, but I'm like, what do I want to do in terms of merch? And I was sort of, when I decided to do this in the middle of a bit of a rebrand, so I didn't have like I'd changed my hair. I'd kind of changed like how I like was kind of overhauling my socials and stuff. So I didn't have stuff that I could just throw onto like merch to print. And I was also moving. So I'm like, I don't want to end up with a bunch of stock of stuff that I'm not going to, be able to drag around with me. So I think next time, like, I want to be really intentional about like, what I'm bringing in terms of like products. I mean, people mostly wanted the pictures, but it is nice to like, now I know like how big a 3.5-inch sticker is. It's not that big. Like I would do bigger stickers. I'd go through a different company. Like those little things of like being able to provide, I think, like better merch, better experience, and be more organized on my end that was a challenge.
They did love the stickers. Definitely bring stickers.
Yeah.
I didn't have any, so I wish I did.
I love that. I guess the next thing that I'm curious about was like, were there any key lessons that you felt like you learned from having your own booth there?
Wear comfortable shoes.
Right.
I came home with like 2 big toes, undersized, my nails bruised from wearing my big covered toed heels. So comfortable shoes, but I thought we wore heels too because we're tall and just wanted to add to like the giantess part of our booth. But don't buy the marketing package would be my other one was use your own socials to market and save the money. And then a third one, I think that there's value in being humble and friendly. So, when you go to, you have somebody you look up to or that you just love, it's like maybe meet an actor or somebody that you've always only seen online, and then you meet them in person and they're just a total snot to you. Like that happened to me at the show with one of the porn stars there. And I just told my husband, I was like, if I ever get that big and I am that big of a snot, I said, you sock me in the arm right now and tell me to wake up. So just the vibe that we put off, that everybody kept coming back because of the friendliness and the openness to everybody. I want to make sure that I always stay that way.
I love that. That's such good advice. What about for Momma? Did you have any lessons or takeaways?
For me, like I walked in there just for the experience. And was it an experience? I definitely would probably up my merch as well. My stickers did really well, my tattoos, my bumper stickers. But having something a little bit more unique, like I would love like a pussy print necklace, like, something cool and unique. I wasn't going to do t-shirts. I'm still never going to do t-shirts just because everybody sells t-shirts. I think everything went pretty smooth. I'm trying to think of things that I would change. I would definitely start, getting your materials, way in advance. That way that there's not a crunch time. I felt very, very rushed, but I was also on a 2-week trip with another friend. Her name's Lovely Lowe. So I was like traveling across the United States, trying to put together Exxxotica and all that kinds of stuff. So maybe a little bit being more organized. But if you know me, like I work best when I'm on the fly, you know? I'm not an overthinker. I'm one of those ones you say, hey, be here. And I'm going to show up with 3 suitcases and it's going to explode, you know?
It's true. It's true.
I have a lot of fun.
I agree.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Better planning.
So T, what were there any lessons or things that you had to take away from the experience beyond what maybe B or Fallon mentioned?
Some time management stuff, but this is a lesson I learn time and time again with collabs. Like just because you look at your calendar and you see an empty space, you don't have to fill it, because like I typically do not leave time to like eat or sleep and then wonder why at 1 a.m. when I haven't eaten all day, I'm super grumpy. So I think I'd almost want like, because there were so many times where we did try to like, we tried to structure our time where it'd be like, there's 2 people in the booth, and then there's a time with all 4 of us, and then there's time with 2. We ended up being so busy that those times with like 2 people, like we usually ended up having all 4 of us. So I don't know if we like maybe doing like a larger group of girls to tap in and out, just so that like if you wanted to like get your collabs in or like get a bite to eat, there was like a little bit more like flexibility. Like it was so wonderful for us to be like so like pop in all the time, but I guess I didn't manage my time as well as I wanted to make sure that like my basic physical needs were taken care of, and that I was able to like get the collabs in that I wanted and devote like full like energy to the booth. So I think just managing my expectations around time and the realities of time and being a human, you know.
Yes, I agree with that. I was in the booth the whole time. I rarely left. And so I didn't eat my lunch. The one time we did get lunch, Max brought us some sausages, and of course we had to turn that into a whole a whole crowd watching thing. But yeah, I would get out at like 10 o'clock and the show's done so late, 11 o'clock, that there's no restaurants open after that. And so you end up trying to scrounge for food. And so definitely take your lunch or dinner breaks or bring a snack. We didn't hardly drink any water the first day, and I felt like super sick and dehydrated from that and gave myself a major headache. So I made sure to drink my big jug of water the next day. So bring water with you, bring snacks if you're not planning on leaving the booth much.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. I can't tell you how many times I've done a booth and Exxxotica, and that was the biggest thing. It's like you're just starving, and there's like never really a good time to leave because people are always coming through in these kind of waves. So I think that's an excellent takeaway. I'm curious, like out of the 3 of you, if you just want to chime in, like, would you consider doing this again? Like based on this first experience, would you want to do this again?
100%.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we're looking at doing New Jersey, actually. I'm just trying to figure out how to ship all the things out there.
Yeah.
The boobs and my stuffed penis and my printer and all the banners, because we drove to Chicago. So with all the supplies, I don't really want to drive from the Midwest to New Jersey. So that's my big hurdle there. But yeah, I would love to. And I think we're even looking at maybe adding maybe 2 more people too.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, Jersey is one of the biggest ones, actually. I think it's the original. So that would be really, really cool to see you guys there. I think the final question I really have is like, what advice would you give other adult creators or performers who are considering doing this? Like, is there one core thing that you're like, this is the thing?
You got to have some money to start. So that's 1. But 2, I think, don't let a fear stop you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be well. If you think it's going to be good, it's going to be good. If you think it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. It's all in how you look at things. And it was a freaking blast. And I'm so happy I went. And I'm so happy that I have cool creator friends that will do it with me.
Yeah, I think it's important, on social medias that allow it, just, market it, way in advance, and continue to remind people that you're going to be there and that this is the opportunity for them to be able to come say hi to you, take a picture, give you a hug. We had multiple people showed up, and they're like, I came for you. And, I think that to a lot of people, like sometimes we mean more than what we really think to people. Some people don't get the opportunity to travel across the United States, and meet all these beautiful women and all these beautiful men. And when they watch our content, not just only on our subscription sides, like the sexual side of it, but the things that we're doing non-sexual and the experiences that we're having, they're living that experience with us. And I think a lot of people, I know I get a lot of feedback that like I brighten people's day by posting and sharing. And people are genuinely curious of who we are outside that camera. So just market yourself. You're going to be there. People will show up.
I think that's excellent advice. T, is there anything else that you'd want to add to that?
Yeah, I think a lot of what Fallon said, like knowing that it's going to like cost money, so making sure that like it's not, going to set you back too much financially. And then, just not being fearful. Like I get very, I have a tendency to get very like starstruck, kind of intimidated by people that like I've wanted to work with or who I've looked up to. And I'm doing pretty well right now, but like I still very much consider myself like up and coming and not like super established. So I'm like, oh, like, am I a big enough creator? Like, do I deserve the spot at the booth? But like overall, and I think this is a lot of like since your brand about like not being gatekeepy, I would say like 90% of my experiences with people in this industry have been like positive. People are really they want to help you. They want to like see others succeed. They like want to give advice. They like want to connect. They want to network. And so like not letting the fear of not being like, oh, I'm not like quote famous or whatever, like stop you from like participating in something like this, because like, you'll make the connections, and like very few people have had like any sort of like really negative attitude. So like going and like networking is like what's going to get you to that spot. Like even if you're not there yet, I think like just not being scared if you're not where you want to be, like don't let that stop you from participating in something like this.
Absolutely. Like I think not to like hold up for so many creators is almost like this dealing with imposter syndrome, and then they just don't take the step or the leap to do the new thing. So I love that you brought that up. I think that the fact that you guys kind of band together and did this is so cool. It is difficult to hold your own in a space like this where you're up against essentially companies, studios, big conglomerates, big campsites, things like that. And to have had such a successful first experience, I think that speaks volumes to the kinds of creators you guys are, the experiences you collectively have in terms of like your back career, being on the floor as a pharmaceutical rep, and like having this kind of like floor trade show training. Like I think the fact that you guys had a great group, great vibes, focused on just having fun, like that, those were the key things, it sounds like, that made this just such a fantastic experience. And I hope that other creators listening in kind of, I feel a confidence or a sense of confidence having you shared your experience, that they can go in and do something similar. Is there anything else you guys would like to add that maybe we didn't cover, didn't touch on before we start to wrap this up? This has been amazing, you guys.
I think one of the things, there's after parties at these events. And so you're on the show floor till 10 o'clock, and then there's after parties with DJs and stuff that could go into all hours. And so that was something that we checked out for just a little bit, but we didn't stay too long. And it wasn't to avoid any fans or whatnot, but just to conserve energy, because you got to get up and do it all again the next day. So I would say making sure you guys, the parties are fun, but don't get burnt out, stay up too late, or dehydrate yourself on those. The other thing, we did have quite a few people come to the booth that said they were male content creators that, just said they're a creator to try, what are you up to later tonight? Looking for the goodies, I guess. And I was quite surprised by that. They were just upfront asking for sex in the booth. So if you're a new person, make sure that you understand that you're talent tested, and that everybody you work with is talent tested, and just for safety reasons as well. And I guess another tip I had was bringing a cameraman. So Max, my husband, was like so helpful in having, when we're all four of us getting pictures with fans, who's going to take the picture? So he was great to have. So if you have an extra helper that runs and gets you food or takes your pictures for you, prints things for you, that's super helpful. So those are some more tips that I had written down.
Oh, I love that. I think that's perfect. Yeah, having some help is huge. Even just like because you guys had a nice sized group before, but like I've been in booths where as a company booth and there's only two creators, and then it's just me and the other creator switching off for the 8-hour shifts, and one person's trying to get food, the other person's waiting in line, then the other person's stuck at the booth longer. Like it gets very difficult to manage with a tiny like a couple, two people. So having that help is going to go a long way. That makes perfect sense. I'm glad you brought that up. I like I said, I love that you guys did this. You guys sound like such a fun group. I will likely be in New Jersey myself for that Exxxotica. So I do hope to see you guys. It would be so nice to meet y'all in person.
Are you at your own booth or a sponsored booth, Mona?
Probably. So I'm hanging out lately at the Motor Bunny booth just because I fucking love their team. Like they're so much fun. It's like I really
they are fun.
I'm prioritizing the fun aspect of being there because it is a long day. So to your guys' point, it's the same kind of motivation on my end. So yeah, I'll probably be there if I do go. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm excited.
I've been over there before.
Oh, good. You got to come by and play their like Flappy Bird Motor Bunny game. It's
yeah, I did.
I love that. All right. Well, can you guys plug your socials or sites and kind of let everyone listening where they can kind of find your stuff?
Sure. All my things are listed at Fallon Jane Exxo. So it's FALLON JANE exxo.com.
So I'm all my handles are like a little different to fit whatever socials, but mostly if you search Titania_Orion, you'll find me most places. I think my website just has my paid OnlyFans link right now, but on most socials, I'm TITANIA_ORION or some variation thereof.
And for me, you can go to mommablondebombshell.com, or you can simply go to Google and you can Google Momma Blonde Bombshell or Momma Bombshell. And pretty much everything I am on will be there. If you look me up on socials, there is a lot of fake accounts out there of me. So I make sure to put a verification video. Most all my platforms, I do have a blue check and I am verified on. So you can look for those. Or you can look for a little verification video. It usually says important. If you don't see that verification, it is probably not me. I do not chat on any of my free socials. So if anybody's ever chatting with you on, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, etc., I can almost guarantee you it's not me. The only places I do chat is with fans specifically is on my paid pages.
I love that. And then Ink to Please is in here. So let me just plug her Twitter. So if anyone's following, they can make sure to tap for follow. It's at Ink to Please, PLZ, and her OnlyFans is linked there in her bio as well. All right, ladies, thank you so much, Fallon, T, and Momma B again for taking the time to speak with us. I'm sure so many creators got tons of value from this, y'all.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and we're looking forward to meeting you in person there in New Jersey.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And those dates are going to be, Exxxotica New Jersey is October 25th to 27th, guys.
Yes, perfect. Oh, I love that you plugged the dates. They're going to love that. Awesome. Okay, so as we begin to wrap up this space, I do want to let you all know we have begun putting out tons of content over on our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube, please do so at youtube.com/SWCEO and make sure your notifications are on so you never miss a course. In our latest video, Destroying Age Verification in Less than 5 minutes, we expose the truth behind these policies and how they pose a real threat to adult creators and consumers. To oppose age verification in your state, you can click the link in the video description and take the time to take action against these flawed policies and protect our rights to privacy and safe consensual adult content. Your voice matters, so make sure it's heard. It only takes a few seconds to do this. Also wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who subscribed to our Telegram bot. If you haven't already heard, SWCEO has a Telegram bot that essentially sends you your daily adult content inspiration and all of the captions you need for your feed, PPV laughed messages, and clip stores. They're researched to be trendy and highly desirable from what fans are currently seeking, and the captions are optimized with calls to action to increase your earning and unlock potential with each one. Telegram bot pushes your daily dose of inspiration to your phone every day around 10 a.m. Central, so you no longer have to waste your time researching, planning, or coming up with content ideas or captions. The bot takes care of all of it. If you are not a Telegram user, and would like PDF versions of the content info and captions, you can get that over on our website at sexworkceo.com/shop. We recently launched our store with PDF downloads of the same content info and captions that we feature in the bot. We have additional downloads available there as well, like unlock sales scripts and sales objection scripts to help you close the deal with fans and PPVs. And if you want to get a taste of what we offer without spending a dime, you can even grab a completely free PDF download waiting for you there as well. I want to take this last opportunity and remind all of you listening about SWR Data, my other company, in case you're not yet familiar. SWR Data is on a mission to survey adult creators like you. We want to hear your feedback about challenges you face and how the industry can better serve your needs. Our goal is to collect your experiences, opinions, and observations about the current state of the adult industry. We'll use this data to advocate for the necessary changes to make it a better place for us, the creators. The reality is that a lot of the people in power have never been creators, and they simply don't know what our needs are. SWR Data wants to be that lens. However, I can't do it alone, and I genuinely need your help. So for that reason, we're inviting any creators willing to participate in our qualifying survey, which helps us understand your expertise as an adult creator. By taking the qualifying survey, you can then start participating in future paid surveys. Our ultimate aim is that the CEO squad has an additional income stream through SWR Data's surveys alone. Your experience is valuable, and we think that it's time you got paid for it. So comment to let us know you're interested. We will send you a DM to that qualifying survey so that you can participate in future paid surveys and join us on this mission. Lastly, but most importantly, I want to emphasize that all the information we put out here is free because we believe in this idea that the more financially successful creators are, the more resources we'll have as a community to do things like lobby Congress, impact policy, organize, and more. So if you found value in what you heard here today or the tweets that you've engaged with, please, please, please consider sharing them to make this journey easier for some of your own adult creator friends. Our only ask is that you retweet and share our stuff so that we can help as many people as humanly possible. That's going to bring us to the end of today's space. Huge thank you everyone who joined and listened. Remember that all of these get turned into blog posts available over on our website, SWCEO.com, so you can revisit that later this week to see or catch up on anything we discussed today. Thank you guys. It would be absolutely incredible if you rated this podcast 5 stars and left a little review. We want to get this podcast to as many adult creators as possible, and you taking a second to leave a couple stars and a review really helps us do that. Thanks so much.